Welcome to the BDRShield video on how to deploy and use Server Proxy for hypervisor backups and storage management. Let's get started on what this Server Proxy is and why it is needed. In BDRShield, a Server Proxy is a deployable component that can be installed on a dedicated machine to extend the backup server's capabilities, including storage handling and remote hypervisor backup. The Server Proxy acts as an intermediary between the management console of BDRShield, that is either the cloud or on-prem, and the hypervisor hosts. It securely reads data from the hypervisor and also handles writing the backup data to the configured storage. Enables centralized secure backup management across branch offices and data centers. Now that we understand what the Server Proxy is and the available deployment options, let's take a look at how to install the Server Proxy. Before installing the Server Proxy, let's quickly review the prerequisites. You'll need a Windows or Linux machine with a minimum of 16 GB RAM and an octa-core processor along with stable connectivity to your hypervisor host. Ensure the machine can communicate with the BDRShield servers, whether on-prem or cloud. Administrative or root privileges are required to complete the installation. And finally, keep your hypervisor credentials ready, as they'll be needed when adding the host. Let's begin by downloading the Server Proxy installer. This quick step ensures the right proxy is deployed for your operating system, setting the foundation for a smooth and secure backup configuration. To download the Server Proxy, log in to your respective management console of BDRShield, either on-prem or cloud. For example, let's try downloading the Server Proxy from the BDRShield Cloud console. To do so, first sign up for the BDRShield Cloud account by filling out the requested details. Once you sign up for the BDRShield Cloud account, you will receive a validation link to your registered mail ID. Click the link to validate and set your password. Then, using those details, sign in to your BDRShield Cloud console. If you are an on-prem user of BDRShield, all that you have to do is, after the installation of the BDRShield on-prem server installer, log into it using the default username and password, which is admin and admin. After logging in, from the top menu, navigate to the Inventory tab, open the BDR Proxy menu, and select Server Proxy. This takes you to the Add and Manage Server Proxy page, where all configured proxies are listed. Click on Add Server Proxy to proceed. Next, in the pop-up window, choose the Server Proxy installer based on your operating system, Windows or Linux. Once you've chosen the installer, click on the Download button next to the appropriate installer. Doing so, the chosen Server Proxy installer package will now be downloaded automatically to your selected download location. After downloading the Server Proxy, click on the Registration Token button on the same page. The registration token is now displayed in the pop-up window. Click the Copy button next to the token code to copy it to your clipboard. Once the installer is downloaded, move it to the respective Windows or Linux machine that has access to your hypervisor host. With everything in place, let's proceed with the installation of the Server Proxy. For this demo, we'll be installing the BDRShield Cloud Server Proxy on a Windows machine. The installation steps remain the same for the BDRShield Server Proxy used with an on-prem management console. With that in mind, let's launch the installer with administrative privileges to begin the Server Proxy installation. Simply follow the on-screen steps. The installation is quick and requires minimal input. During the installation, you'll be prompted to choose the installation location. By default, a folder path is pre-selected, but you can click Browse to choose a different location if needed. Before the installation completes, you'll be prompted to register the Server Proxy with the respective BDRShield server, either the cloud or on-prem. Let's take a look at how to do that in the next steps. As discussed earlier, you'll be prompted to enter a registration token to connect the Server Proxy with its respective BDRShield server, on-prem cloud. Now, paste the registration token that was copied during the Server Proxy download and click Next to proceed with the token validation process. Once the token is validated, Click Next to continue with the steps to install the server proxy. Next, the installer will prompt you to choose a storage location for the metadata components. Ensure the selected area has at least 3% free space relative to the total backup data size, and then choose the appropriate storage path to continue. Then, on the server proxy settings in the installer, you can continue with the default configuration by clicking Install. If you need to tailor the server proxy settings, simply click on the Customize Settings button in order to change the web server port and the backup ports, along with the service account, before proceeding. Once the registration and configuration steps are complete, the server proxy installation will continue automatically to finish the setup. Click Finish to finalize the setup of the server proxy and complete the installation. Once done with the installation of the server proxy, the installed server proxy will be listed on the Add and Manage Server Proxy page in the respective management console of the BDRShield. Now that you have successfully installed and listed your server proxy, the next step is to add storage to the server proxy. Log into your respective management console of BDRShield, go to the Inventory tab, and select Backup Repository to add storage. Select Block Storage to add a local or on-prem storages, such as direct attached storage or network-based storage like NAS or SAN. On the Block Storage page, click Create Block Storage Repository to proceed. Clicking Create Block Storage Repository opens a pop-up window. Here, enter a repository name, select Server Proxy as the data processor, and then choose the added server proxy from the drop-down list. Selecting the server proxy will handle data processing and storage for this block storage repository. After selecting the server proxy, choose the storage option. This can be a direct attached drive on the machine where the server proxy is installed. Then, specify the drive or folder path as the backup storage location. If you choose to store backups on NAS or SAN, select the Network Attached Drive option and click Add Network Drive to enter the storage details. Ensure that the server proxy machine has access to the configured network storage. Once the block storage is added, it will be listed here on the block storage page. If you want to store backup data in the cloud, select Object Storage to add a public or private cloud as your backup repository. If your management console is BDRShield Cloud, you also have the option to store backup data directly in BDRShield Cloud Storage. To store the backup data in your own cloud storage, then on the Object or Cloud Storage page, click the button Create Object Storage Repository to proceed. This opens a pop-up window where you can select your cloud storage provider from the left pane. Supported options include AWS S3, Azure Blob, Google Cloud Storage, and S3 compatible storage such as Wasabi, MinIO, etc. On the right pane of the pop-up screen, ensure the data processor is set to server proxy and select the added server proxy from the drop-down list. Then, enter the required details for the selected cloud storage provider and follow the on-screen instructions to add your cloud storage. Choosing the server proxy allows the backup data to be processed and stored via the selected server proxy, as it will handle both data processing and uploading the backed up data to the respective object storage. After you are done with adding your storage, the next step is we'll walk through how to add hypervisor hosts using the server proxy. Let's now look at how to add a VMware vSphere host using the server proxy. Log in to the management console of BDRShield on-prem or cloud. Navigate to Inventory, Virtualization Hosts, and select the VMware vSphere menu. Selecting VMware vSphere opens the Add VMware vSphere page. From here, click Add ESXi vCenter Server to proceed. A pop-up window appears where you can enter the ESXi or vCenter server name or IP address that the installed server proxy can access. Then, provide the corresponding ESXi or vCenter server credentials to proceed. Clicking on the Add Credentials button will lead you to this pop-up window where you can add a display name for identification, along with the root admin credentials of the hypervisor host, and save it. After saving the hypervisor credentials, select the appropriate server proxy to proceed. Once completed, the VMware vSphere page will display the added VMware hypervisors along with the server proxies managing them. Similarly, let's now look at how to add a Microsoft Hyper-V host using the server proxy. Log in to the management console of BDRShield, either on-prem or in the cloud. Navigate to Inventory, Virtualization Hosts, and select the Hyper-V host. Selecting Microsoft Hyper-V opens the Add Microsoft Hyper-V page. From here, click the Add Microsoft Hyper-V button and select either the standalone or cluster or SMB servers of Hyper-V deployment models to proceed. Clicking on the requested Hyper-V deployment type, a pop-up window appears where you can enter the name or IP address of the Hyper-V host that the installed server proxy can access. Then provide the corresponding Hyper-V server credentials and select the server proxy to push the agent from the server proxy to the respective Hyper-V server. Saving the details in previous window will allow you to check the status of the agent push to the respective Hyper-V host from the server proxy installed machine. Once the agent gets pushed, the Microsoft Hyper-V host is added successfully to the server proxy and gets listed in this management console page. Now, using the server proxy, let's see how to configure backups for hypervisors. To configure backup, log in to the BDRShield management console, either on-prem or cloud. Navigate to the Backup tab, select Configure Backup, and click Virtual Machines to configure backups for the respective hypervisors. In this demo, we'll configure a VMware vSphere backup using the server proxy. Click on VMware vSphere and proceed. You'll now be taken to the Configure New Backup Job page. Here, start by entering a backup job name. Then select BDRShield Cloud Storage as the backup repository if you want to store the virtual machine backups in the BDRShield cloud. Next, you'll be prompted to select the server proxy for cloud upload. This server proxy is responsible for uploading backed up data to BDRShield Cloud Storage, for which the backup data is temporarily cached on the server proxy before being uploaded to BDRShield Cloud Storage. Then, you'll be asked to select the server proxy that will read the backup data from the respective hypervisor, like VMware in this case. This is because the server proxy also handles the data read from the chosen hypervisor. Meanwhile, if you want to store your virtual machine backup data in your own local or cloud storage, simply select Your Storage as your backup repository option and proceed. To choose your own backup repository, click the pen icon to list the backup repository. This will list all repositories connected to the server proxies, so go ahead and choose one from the list. Once you choose the backup repository, the server proxy for the hypervisor will be listed automatically. After selecting your backup repository option, click Next to proceed with host or VM selection. These steps help you configure backups for any virtual environment using the server proxy. This brings us to the end of our video on the BDRShield server proxy. Throughout this session, we've seen how the server proxy streamlines backup operations in remote and distributed virtual environments, securely connecting to hypervisors, reading backup data, and reliably writing that data to local, network, or cloud storage. By combining both data access and storage handling in a single component, the server proxy enables centralized backup management with enhanced security and scalability. Thank you for watching. To learn more or get started, visit bdrshield.com or reach out to our support team for assistance.